Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it's April 15th of 2023. It's about 2:30 p.m. in the afternoon. And not much, well, there's always stuff going on for me. There's always things that I have to, there's things I do have to take care of, minor things. I mean, I don't work a full-time job. I don't work at all. I mean, but a lot of stuff for me to take care of. It's, I got a new, not a new, I got a updated bank card or some other card and credit card. And then I have to find my way into where I have that card listed to update just the expiration date or something. Things like that. Just a lot of stuff. So I don't really have anything on the agenda for today. Let's see what we have going on. This page is still loading slow. I mentioned that the other day. I think there's something in here that is, and that's for Chrome, I think. So I probably need to, let me close this page. Let me close the whole thing and use, okay, that was Chrome. Let's look, NVIDIA, is that it? Let's see how fast that loads. Okay, well, I wonder what page it's loading with. Same page. So, I think that loaded quicker, didn't it? Let's try Microsoft Edge. I think it will load on the same page. Yeah, okay, that loaded much quicker. Let me drag that over here so I'll remember. Maybe put it there. See, in what order did they load? Fastest. Okay, let's do Firefox. Let me close, okay, and then load Firefox this way. Oops, it's loading over here. Okay, Okay, now let me change this to start page and see if, let me close it down. And see now if I do, okay, let's see. Okay. We didn't time them. I don't know. What do you think? Which one do you think loaded the quickest? Now, I'm not sure that's a fair thing because I just loaded it and then closed it and then loaded it again in order to get it to start on this. Let's go through them again. Let's go with Microsoft Edge. Okay, that loaded fast. Let's go to Chrome. Okay, that's loading. That loads pretty good. Okay, I'm not sure that any of these are good. I mean, maybe I'm doing it the wrong way, you know what I mean, in order to test it. I didn't intend to do any testing like this. Okay. And I think this is, no, I think, did I just do this one or See, I forgot. I wasn't paying any attention. And go to Firefox will be the next one. Okay. Yeah. Seemed like they all loaded a little faster this time. Let's go to speed test. Just see what. Go back to speed. Okay. No. Oh, I see. Okay. I had to type SP. You know, you might, if some of you are, if you're running Windows, and you're using a browser, whichever browser you're using, you might check and see how, you know, how that, and then leave a comment as to which one seems like it works the best for you. Of course, I've set up with a start page, and you may not do that. Okay, anyway, nothing to brag about, is it? 62 down. You know, with my new router here, I plugged a 1 terabyte drive into the back of it, and I don't think it has been recognized yet. Okay. I need to work on that. I haven't looked at the instructions or anything, or at even the menu to see. And I have several different things I could plug into there. I have not learned really my Galaxy Note 10 Plus. It's amazing how much I do not know about it. I mean, so I need to work on that. I finally got my one medication that I have not had for several months. Finally got it. Pharmacy has it, and my son went and picked it up for me. What I'm thinking of doing, seeing in the back the red blanket, that's my bed. I'm thinking of, okay, I don't think you can see it from where, actually this monitor is blocking it. There's a stand over there that I have a small safe on it. I don't have any money in it, don't have any jewelry in it. Just got a bunch of birth certificates and marriage certificates and that type of thing. And that's it. No guns. Haven't owned a gun since 2000. And it's now 2023. But I'm thinking of moving that thing. I'd have to find a place to put that. Maybe that would fit on top of my small office refrigerator, the safe. It's kind of heavy. I'm thinking of moving that over here, right in there. And it would be close enough that I could just pull this chair over there, and I could put one of my computers on it. Now, it is convenient to have this, to have two, if I'm looking up something and I don't want to look it up, and this is two monitor situation over here, one monitor here. But I'm thinking of having a computer over there. I would like to free up this small space here so I could have a notebook or something that I could work on in front of me. This keypad, it's kind of big, and I purchased a smaller one recently, and I don't think I even had it one day, and my son came in and he liked it, so I gave it to him, and I think it was like $40, so I may, next month when I can afford it, order another one, because I liked it. I only got to use it for one day. Let me see if I can show that one to you. Go to Amazon. Right now my brain is failing me. Here it is. And go to Orders. Actually, I think I saw it over there at the, as you can see, I ordered in some cable. I'm going to try to mess with the cable a bit. My son ordered in this watch. This is a router, TP-Link AC 1750, and I need to look up, see if I can find the menu where I put it. This is a Dell computer that I got. I'll put the link to all these items, by the way, below, since I'm mentioning them, when I get time. This thing looked, I returned this, but it looked actually pretty good, but when I ordered it, I mentioned that I wasn't paying it, I did it real fast, and this did not come with the microphone. And at the price that it was, I thought it was a good deal, but I thought the microphone came with it. I should have checked. Here's the Red Dragon K552 mechanical gaming keyboard. Not fancy at all, but it's smaller. And I think it also misses the, does not have the keypad, I believe. And I really don't need a keypad. Yeah. Well, you can see the way they do, the way they did that here. So, I go back, where was I? So, man, there are so many neat things to order nowadays. Too bad I'm not rich. Be neat to be wealthy, or not. You don't have to be wealthy, but just to be able to go, oh, that looks interesting, and then order it. Well, I do that sometimes, but I'm not. I am at the other end of the scale. I'm not rich or wealthy or well-to-do or anything else. Anyway, I'll list the things that I just showed you in case anything interests you. If you're doing a podcast or a YouTube video, especially live streaming or something like this, I'll put the other one also. the one that is the step up from this. Oh, you can't see it. Okay. I'll put the one that's a step up from this. It comes with the microphone. Although you can use other microphones with this. Let's see, probably below here they will list. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so this is $119. And, oh, it tells you frequently bought together. So you could just do that, or you could buy, here it is, as I'll put the link for this, $180. And this is the one I thought that I was ordering. I make an awful lot of mistakes when I'm ordering from Amazon. Well, it's not funny. I mean, back many years ago, I ordered 3. I wanted a small camera, a real camera. And I click and I ordered one. Well, it didn't intend for it to be, let me jump back, I didn't intend for it to be this big, And so I kept it and I ordered another one, same size. I mean, it wasn't the same camera, it was the same size. Okay, you're going to think I ordered a third one. I think I sent the second one back. I ordered a third one. It came in the same size. Oh. I hope I've improved a little bit. I'm not crazy about the XLR system. But that's my stupidity. I prefer USB. When I started it, they weren't USB, they were RS-232, series ports or something, back before USB existed. Anyway, I'll list these things below when I get time. So this video will be, uploaded. And then if you hear me, if you happen to go right away, and you're going to be like, well, God damn, Jim Howard, he said he was going to put the link, but he didn't. Yeah, because it's going to take me a time. I'll upload it, and then I'll go find the links, and then I'll put the links below. Let's see, what else is going on here? Well, let's see what's going on in the news. Okay. We don't own a car, by the way. We haven't owned one in quite a while. It's very inconvenient not having one. But one, well, with my arthritis, I really can't turn my head to look. Of course, there are, there's rear view mirror, there's mirror on the side. Now they have cameras and that kind of stuff. But I've mentioned this before. It just popped in my mind because I saw something as I was coming through the living room, and Darlene was watching something in there. It's not just CNN. It's Fox News and all of them. They'll have something happen, a shooting or a baby being rescued or something, something going on. And they'll have their banner across the bottom or whatever. Come on, guys. A lot of times it's blocking the important information. Okay, I know you. Why not drop it, Why not take it and have somebody there who, remove it during the crucial part of, you're showing something. Or you don't have to, take it down to the, to the bottom, you know, just, hit a button and take it down. You already have that material, all your public, you got people that do it that have been to college and everything else, to do that kind of graphics and all that kind of decisions, and just bring it down a little bit. Because I don't know how many times there's some story and they've got this thing covering about a third of the screen telling you that it's CNN or Fox News or MSNBC or whoever, whoever it is. Why don't you have a staff of people, I know you do. I worked at security at a local television station. Well, not local in Kansas City, Missouri area. I know you got all kinds of people working magic or whatever. I think it was KCMO. I think it was KCMO in Kansas City, Missouri. I think. Actually, they weren't in Kansas City, Missouri, but they were. There was this. I'm not sure if I told this story before. Well, I've got so many videos. Maybe I did. There was this Republican candidate who was running for, I think, the Senate. I think it was the Senate or something like that. And he showed up, in a limo being driven with a couple, people with him. People who, I feel sorry for those people, And they get out of the car and they're having, I'm not sure if it was martinis or whatever, they're getting, they didn't have a little martini glass, they had, something like that. They get out and then he gets out. And, I forget what he said or whether it was his staff, And of course, this is daytime, but the, KCMO, their doors were locked. And he gets out, and then somebody tells me, I'm not sure, I can't remember after all these years, if he told me who he was, and it didn't impress me one bit, or if it was his people that told me, and then whatever, and then I let them in. It was election time. And he was an arrogant SOB. I forget why I knew. I could just tell. I could just look at him. I could look at him and tell. Because I was somebody who had been around for a while. I worked a lot of different jobs in different states and stuff, everything else. Anyway, I just knew he was a prick. And he got out. And and he was a Republican, of course. And the Republicans were bad, but they've always been bad. But not as bad as they've been that they've gotten over the years. Not Trump bad, not, Bush bad. I mean, they were just kind of bad. And I thought, oh my God. And I thought, of course, it didn't matter to me. I think it was Kansas that he was, running for. And I was thinking to myself, I hope this prick loses, I think I was thinking, we got enough pricks in Congress, especially Republicans. And anyway, then he was there for hours because they were making a commercial. And so they had they don't have the TV, the 6 o'clock news and 10 o'clock news and whatever. They don't have those people doing it. They have, people there that do that kind of stuff. And of course they had monitors, 50 monitors, up and that type of stuff. And they were, they had a stool for him and putting his foot up on the stool, and then they tried all these things. So I came through every hour and a half, 2 hours. I didn't have any, it was up to me, I didn't have any set schedule, something like that. But I'd go through and I'd see him. And then I'd look up on the monitor and I'd think, yeah, he looks, he doesn't look like an asshole. I knew he was one, but he didn't look like one, and I thought, yeah, they're doing a good job, making him look good. I was thinking, I guess you can make anybody look good or sound good. Well, now we know there's no way you can make Donald Trump look good. There is somebody who is so stupid and mentally unbalanced that you can't make them. But at the time, I thought, well, you could take anybody. But so anyway, then I saw the finished product, and it was a short, I think a minute or however long commercial for TV is, 2 minutes, and he had his foot up on the stool and doing that kind of stuff, and he looked good, and I thought, damn. Anyway, wasn't the same day, I think maybe the next day or something like that. A big car pulled up, and I don't know if the guy was in uniform or not, the driver. So it was two people, the driver and then the governor of Kansas, I think it was. And got out, and they were very nice. I mean, I can't remember what, but they got out and they're very nice. And I forget, they didn't have any cocktails or whatever, and the driver was a highway patrol, I think, officer. I don't think he was in uniform. I can't remember now. It's been a long, long time ago. A long time ago, before any of you whippersnappers were born. And he was really nice, and he went in, and made a commercial there or something. Anyway, the guy that was the asshole, he lost big time. So I think he went around, and I don't know if it was people like me, I mean, he looked good on television, but if he was going around meeting people, I think a lot of people could tell. Well, I don't know how many Trump supporters do we have. Apparently they can't tell, but you should be able to tell by looking, by the way somebody treats you or whatever. When I worked hospital security, there was, and I worked hospital security for 30 years. There were times that politicians, showed up. The governor of, I remember the governor of Missouri or Kansas or something like that. They showed, and I think they all had their act together. I mean, maybe they were assholes, but they could hide it. Some people can't, apparently. Now, I may not be a good judge of people like that because, some people are important. And, you need to, if they're important, if they got an important job, if their time is valuable, you need to take those things. But I'm somebody, for some reason, not sure why, what made me that way. And I don't recommend that that's a good way maybe to be. It just sort of set me off, like working hospital security. Well, I did when I was a welder, it didn't matter, there was somebody that followed me around on a lot of the welding that I did, and X-rayed it and that kind of stuff. It didn't bother me. It was just a working, and there were other things, but there were some people who, but there were some people in the hospital in the hospital area. There were some people that, there were some doctors. It's a wonder I didn't get fired, a couple of times because it didn't go over well. I needed to do for them what they needed to have done. If they needed to have the medical library unlocked or medical records unlocked at 3 o'clock in the morning or something, I did all those things. I didn't dilly-dally around, I didn't get the call, hey, Dr. So-and-so needs such and such unlocked, and I didn't continue talking to a nurse or something. I went right away, but I didn't run, to the thing. And when somebody would tell me, and when I saw too, people go to, you've probably been to the hospital, unfortunately, or your family has, and you've shown up and you get in line, and you're bleeding, or your kid is bleeding or something, you know. One time, uh, well, and that was stupid me. I had no idea. Well, until I worked hospital security. I think I was working maybe hospital security, but not at that hospital. I'm not sure. I think I was a welder then. But yeah, I was. My daughter got off a curtain rod, got that little thing stuck on her finger, you know. So I took her to the hospital, and so, well, one, we showed up at a hospital that I ended up working, later at. Well, when I went there at that time, um, when I went there at that time, um, well, they had a little tiny waiting room. I mean, a really tiny, this is a big hospital, Research Medical Center. They had a little tiny waiting room, and all the places were, taken. There was an elderly lady or whatever that was there, and, about to fall out of out of the wheelchair that she was in or whatever, and I said, I think this lady over here needs some help, I think she'd already been checked in, I think, I was on the list or something. And the ER clerk, just ignored me. What would I know, Of course, I think there again, I wasn't hospital security, I don't think at that time. I think I was a welder. And anyway, so my Hillary was there with this thing, and I think you understand the fact that me having worked later hospital security, that I would have seen how to get that off a finger, and not had to go. But then, so we've checked in. No, we were waiting to check in. We were in, and so then the person being checked in ahead of us, But then this family came in with a boy bleeding from the head, a little boy that was bleeding from the head, whatever. And the lady, admitting clerk, okay, and I said, well, why don't you take this little boy first? No, she took me first, took us first. Oh, and by the way, the old lady there fell on the floor, and then they came out and took her back. But working hospital security, I don't know how many times, because hospitals do things that, oh God, I hated public relations, and this is a fault of me. I mean, it was certain, you didn't want to tell me these people are VIPs or whatever. And I also did not want to deal with the public relations people because I didn't like them. I'm sure they were sweet people. I'm sure they did maybe a lot of good for the hospital or whatever, but there was also, I didn't like them. And I had to deal with them a few times. When some lady gives birth to, I don't know, 15 babies at the same time or something, or other situations, I had to deal with them, So that's something wrong with, something wrong with me for some reason. I don't know why. But I lucked out. I mean, I dealt with hospital administrators. I dealt with, doctors and doctors who were important, especially like at a small hospital. You could have an orthopedic surgeon and he might be met with you because he's using their, one of their surgery rooms and making money for them. There's ones that I, dealt with. I talked about one that was at St. Joseph Hospital. I talked about him before a number of times. 6th floor hospital. Now, by the way, okay, I did not start at the 6th floor and work my way down floor to floor to floor. Sometimes I did. but sometimes I start at the 6th floor maybe and go down to the 3rd floor and go back to the 5th floor and go, I was systematically unsystematic. It would be stupid and dumb of me to do the same thing. But having said that, so keep in mind, anyway, nurses are crying on the 6th floor. Dr. So-and-so, let's say Dr. S.O.B. Dr. S.O.B. has been to the 6th floor. I go down to the 5th floor. Nurse is crying. Dr. S.O.B. has been to the 5th floor. I go down to the 4th floor. Nurse is crying. Dr. S.O.B. has been to that floor. I go down to the 3rd floor. Nurses aren't crying. Okay, he's still on the 4th floor, or he's just now coming down to the 3rd floor. And of course nurses would say he was a fantastic a fantastic doctor. And patients would say he was a fantastic doctor. I had dealt with him a couple of times, and even when he was made, doctors vote chief of staff or something, every year or something, they picking he's chief of staff or something. Anyway, when he was chief of staff, and I dealt with him, and I survived. And then there was several other doctors that I dealt with, and I lucked out. Once I know I would have been fired or whatever, because I didn't understand fully what was everything. A doctor who he came in a lot at night. When he left the medical building, he would fail to make. Luckily, we had security. Not security in the building at night, but security officers who would go around and check all the doors, and especially if they saw him coming out, go check the door to make sure the door was closed. But there was one time, as an example, with him. Security called, the officer was up, said, "Oh, I found a medical building, such and such medical building." They had more than one. The door unlocked, I've secured it, everything's okay. And then the other security officer said, "Well, I just saw Dr. S.O.B., not the same S.O.B., but a different S.O.B. Just saw Dr. So-and-so leave, and he leaves the door unlocked quite a few times. It wasn't having to lock it, it was making sure you closed it good." And then, right away, I can't remember exactly how the switchboard operator called, I think it was on the radio, or did he? I'm not sure if the doctor actually, I don't think he grabbed, I can't remember that, but anyway, the message came from him. "I don't appreciate you talking about me," or something like that. And our supervisor, he was a good supervisor there, by the way, security supervisor. He just had come up to the desk there in the emergency room. He had been making his rounds. And I said, "How does Dr. S.O.B., and he says, "Oh, he's in the switchboard room now." And I said, he was the boss, supervisor was. Would you watch the desk for me? I'm going to go down and tell him to get out of there, that that's a secure area and that he has no business being in there." And he said, "Jim, no, stay here, don't go down there." And I said, he needs, he's not supposed to be, I don't care if he's Dr. So-and-so, And he says, Doctor, he says, the switchboard, he named the switchboard operator, let's say Margaret. Margaret's one of his patients, and she calls him all the time and asks him to come by, and for some reason to check on her or medicine or do, And that I said, "Oh, okay." If I'd have gone down there that time, if my supervisor hadn't saved my ass, if I'd have gone there, that would have been the end of me, I'd have gone and told me to have any business being there, and then he would have said, reported me, and then he would have said that was his patient, and he was checking on his patient, or that would have been the end of me. So there was a few times that I came real close. I got in trouble a few times for things that I was totally innocent of, and quite to the contrary. I did a super job, and I got blamed for something that I did not do, that I did not do. And so there's a few times that I got, because the director of security, the new one, who turned out to be a good director of security, but he let somebody tell him stuff and took their word, you know. Uh, and but So there's a few times I got into trouble for something that I was totally innocent of. But I never got upset, because there's a few times I got by with doing stuff that I, could have got in trouble for. And so it worked out. Although, I mean, I didn't care. That's something I've mentioned quite a few times, by the way, for you people that are out, young people there in the United States and maybe in the rest of the world. Well, one things that I did, like when I was a welder, getting additional training and how to tie knots. I mean, I didn't have to go training; I got a book on it. So then I went on to a technical refinery where I'd never worked before, an oil refinery. Uh, where I knew how to tie a knot, and it worked out good because it was in Convent, Louisiana, and so I got a book on how to tie knots. I started to say no, I wasn't in the Boy Scouts. I was in the Boy Scouts for a short period of time, but I didn't learn to tie knots, I guess, or I'd forgotten. But anyway, when I went to Convent, Louisiana, my first field job for Boilermakers, when I climbed up the tower, that's before OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Act or whatever. That's when you just climbed up the tower. You didn't have a thing to hook a belt. You didn't, have a safety belt, and you didn't have a thing to hook on as you went up, or you weren't in an enclosed cage, as you went up or whatever. You just climbed up it. But anyway, when I got to the top of the tower to do my welding, there was a couple of two or three, I think probably two, helpers assigned to me. And when I got up there, and it was Louisiana, and Mr. Howard, could you tie me off? And then so I was tying them off, and I thought, if they only knew, that was the first time I was tying somebody off, and whatever. Anyway, I think I was heading someplace else with more to talk about, and I got sidetracked and then sidetracked and then sidetracked. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. And I just forgot how to stop recording. Where is the link? Oh, wait a minute. Why am I? Come on, what's going on? What am I doing wrong here? Well, this is embarrassing. Go ahead and disconnect while I'm trying to figure out what in the world I just did, what I hit wrong. I'd done Zoom. Zoom is not selected now. I think it's locked up. Oh, I see. How did that happen? Well, I still don't have. Oh, I see. Now, here it is. Lordy, lordy. Terrible to get old.